First question, Jason. Can you give two examples of substance that dissolve well in water? Two things that can dissolve well in the water. Sorry? Yeah. Two things or two substances that can dissolve well
Sugar
and
and salt.
salt. Two things or two substances that didn't or that don't dissolve well in the water.
Sand and oil. Supplication.
Can you explain the difference between food chain and food web?
Food chain is show a single part of electric law, and food web is show
Jason.
many food chains.
Okay, can you explain why electric wires are made of copper but covered with plastic?
Because
Because
plastic can hold the electricity.
cannot.
Can hold the electricity.
So what about the copper? Why the electric wires are made of copper? Because
The copper
okay. Elaine, what is a chemical reaction? Jason, standard Jason. What is a chemical reaction? Okay. Can you give the example of substance that dissolve well in the water? Sorry? Milk powder? Okay. Megan, what are the signs that a chemical reaction has taken place?
change in color,
Then,
change in temperature, and forming bubbles.
very nice. Can you explain why the electric wires are made of copper but covered with plastic? Namia, explain why the electric wires are made of copper but covered with plastic.
Because plastic can the electricity
Yes, can
cannot the electricity can hold the electricity.
remember you are trying to get your own score, not your friend's score.
Plastic cannot conduct because plastic cannot the electricity.
So how about the copper? Why the electric wires are made of copper? Copper is just like tembaga. in Indonesia? No. Jason, can you explain the difference between a food chain and food web?
Food chains is just single single
What single?
single primary and what
Food web?
more than one.
Okay. So, can you explain why electric wires are made of copper but covered with plastic?
Because agar tidak menimbulkan sesuatu.
In English?
Because do not get electric shock.
Hey, you are laughing now. You don't remember this is your score. Later your friends get higher than you.
Let it fly.
So what is a chemical reaction? Chemical reaction.
The reaction,
Yeah, Jason move a little.
the sign of
No. What is a chemical reaction and how are reactants and products involved in it?
what's that?
What is a chemical reaction and how are reactants and products involved in it? Jason, don't lean to the wall, Jason.
So cannot change the question.
Okay. Cannot you will get this part later and your friends will get as well. So, what are the signs of chemical reaction that's taken place?
By the color, temperature, the gas, and the bubble.
Okay. Can you give 2 examples of the substance that can dissolve well in the water?
Sugar and salt.
What is the meaning of dissolving process?
What?
What is the meaning of dissolving process? Dissolve.
The solving process is the substance that makes it is the process
Yeah, it's a process.
is the process when the substance mix with other substance.
So can you explain the difference between food chain and food web?
Drink is
Okay, go on. Can you explain the difference between food chain and food web?
for drink
Food chain? Valen? What are the signs that chemical reaction has taken place? What are the signs that a chemical reaction has taken place?
change color, temperature, and forming bubble.
Can you explain the difference between food chain and food web?
The change is the food web first. Food web is the several link in the food chain. And then food chain is a line where line
I got what you mean already. Marques, so Marques, what is a food chain?
Food chain is a animal with animal. No. For example, grasshopper eat grass. My mouse eat grasshopper. And
Grasshopper eat grass, mouse eat grasshopper. So how about food web?
food web is a food chain but longer.
Food chain longer.
Yes.
Food web?
Right there.
Okay. Food chain?
Food chain is animal that energy from the animal that is with energy from each other.
Food web?
Food web is animal that has one animal that food.
Okay. I see. Harga. So our electricity system usually is made by copper, made of copper, right? Made of copper, and they cover it with plastic. So, what is the function of the plastic?
The function is so we don't get shocked because rubber is not a good conductor of heat.
Okay, heat and electricity. So, but why electric wires are made of copper?
Because copper wires are good conductors of electricity.
Okay, very nice. Yes, Kiel. So, can you give two examples of substance that dissolve well in the water?
So that dissolve in water is salt and water, and do not dissolve well is
Salt and water,
salt with sugar.
salt and sugar, and substance that do not dissolve well in the water.
Oil and salt.
Oil and
Salt.
Kenzo, so what are the signs that a chemical reaction has taken place?
Change color and forming bubbles.
Okay, good. So, what is a chemical reaction and how reactants and products involved in it? What is a chemical reaction actually? Actually, we know two, right? Physical change and chemical change. So, what is chemical reaction?
Chemical change is when one or more substances can transfer into different substances.
So, can you explain can you give one example of chemical change?
The example is all the reactants is transform a substances transform into a product through breaking and forming
New? Forming new substances. Okay, next, yes, Kiel. Can you explain first about what is dissolving process? Why do you say that oil is not the substance that dissolves well in the water, but salt is the substance that dissolves well in the water?
Because salt is dissolved well in the water because the particle, but the particle is not attract.
So how do we know that the substance is dissolved well in the water or not? Let's say you put some substance inside the water and you stir it, and you say this substance doesn't dissolve well in the water. How do you know it?
It will mix.
Sorry?
Mix.
Will mix. Okay. So sand doesn't mix with the water. Arga, can you explain the signs that chemical reaction has taken place?
Change in color, change in temperature, and it creates a new substance.
Good. So, Justin, can you give one example of chemical reaction, chemical change? Or how about why electric wires are made of copper but covered with plastic?
Because copper is rigid, conductor of heat, while plastic is poor conductor of heat.
Okay, good. So, Marcus, can you give two examples of substance that dissolve well in the water?
Salt and sugar.
Sugar. And two things that do not dissolve well in the water?
Sand and oil.
Sand and oil. So if you put oil in the water and you stir it, how do you say why do you say this oil doesn't dissolve in the water?
Because oil don't have little particle.
Sorry?
So, because oil don't have tiny particle.
So what is the result when you pour the oil in the water and you stir it? What will happen?
The oil will float in half.
Okay. So what are the signs that chemical reaction has taken place?
Chemical will take place in when it is forming bubble, change color, and
Okay, I got it. So when you pour some sand in the water and you stir it, what is the result? Why do you say this sand doesn't dissolve with the water? Speak louder, I cannot hear you. Speak louder.
Because the sun is still because the sun doesn't dissolve in water.
So what is the result when you try to stir the mix, when you try to mix the sand in the water?
The sun is still below the water.
Okay. Can you explain what is chemical reaction?
Chemical reaction.
Okay. Arga, we have in the chemical reaction we know two things, reactants and products. So what is reactants and what is product?
Reactants is the material that makes chemical reaction. Product is the result of the chemical reaction.
So can you explain the difference between the food chain and food web?
Food chain is a line path of energy
Food web?
Food web shows interconnected feeding relationship in ecosystem.
Okay. So can you give one example of food chain?
The rats, snack and cow.
Okay. Kenzo, can you explain the difference between food chain and food web?
food chain is the energy flow that it thinks relationship like
Okay. Food web?
food web is
several food chain linked together.
Can you give one example of food chain?
Food chain is grass is eaten by the grasshopper. The grasshopper is eaten by the frog. The frog is eaten by the snake.
Okay. So can you give the example of substance that dissolve well in water?